here on set. We're going to start off looking at the Greek papers, country bracing itself, just getting underway, a 24-hour general strike. This is, of course, to protest against government spending cuts.
That's right. Let's take a look at some of the front pages today, starting with the center-left Ethnos that says that the EU wants a global solution by October the 18th. October the 18th, that's when EU leaders are scheduled to gather in Brussels for yet another summit about Greece. Ketimerini, the right-wing newspaper, which has often been a cheerleader for the conservative Prime Minister Antonis Samaras, says that Samaras has given austerity measures the green light. Meanwhile, the left-leaning Iavgi has a quite different tone. They say that we're on strike to save our lives. So quite a little different patch of takes on the strike today.
Okay, well, that's what's happening in Greece today. Spain, they had a lot of attention there yesterday because protesters clashing with police in Madrid.
That's right. Now, for now, Spanish newspapers have quite factual articles on what happened. For instance, there's this article here in El País, 64 wounded, 28 arrested, according to this article. Now, of course, the clashes broke out when demonstrators tried to tear down barriers that had been set up in front of the parliament. Spanish police fired rubber bullets and charged the protesters with batons. Now, there's an impressive series of photos taken during those protests on El País's website that you could check out. They're very impressive. You can see how violent the clashes were. There's a protester there with quite a lot of blood streaming down his face. Now, those protesters are also getting a lot of attention in the international press as well. It's on the cover of the International Herald Tribune. Here you see a protester that was heading down towards the parliament. And there's a very interesting article today in the International Herald Tribune about how difficult life is getting for Spanish people facing this soaring unemployment and rising poverty. More and more Spanish people, according to this article, are forced to root through trash cans, bins, to find food. According to this article, they say that it helps ends meet. Now, this survival technique is becoming so common that in some cities, for instance, in Girona, the government has put locks on supermarket trash cans, on their bins, to stop people from scrounging through the trash cans. Now, this move to put locks on the trash cans has created an uproar in Spain. The owners of the supermarket said they're doing this to avoid people being so humiliated. They say that this goes against their dignity. They also say that it's a way to encourage people to find healthy solutions, for instance, getting them to go to licensed food banks. And the article does point out that a lot of people feel too humiliated to actually go to these licensed food banks. But the critics say that the locks have actually been put on the trash cans in Girona because the city... It doesn't want it to save the city's image because so far, the city draws so many tourists, they don't want to necessarily see people rooting through the trash.
And another story in Spain, kind of linked to the last one, I suppose, really, getting an awful lot of coverage, is the plight of Catalonia. Artur Mas, he's the Catalan president. He's called snap elections for the 25th of November. This is to decide whether or not the region should separate from the rest of Spain.
That's right, and actually the king, Juan Carlos, met with him yesterday in Barcelona, and there's an article in ABC that looks at his reaction to this. It's a very touchy subject in Spain, of course. The king said that it would be blind not to see the seriousness of this historic stage, that it would be irresponsible to fall into a barren gloom. He said that together, Catalonia, Spain, and Europe will be able to overcome the circumstances. And last week, actually, the king, in an unusual move in politics, actually wrote a letter calling for national unity. Now, El Mundo is also looking at this question of Catalonia's independence and actually turns the question around and says, why doesn't Spain actually become independent from Catalonia? So science fiction scenario, of course, but they're saying, why not hold a referendum in Spain? And not just for Catalonia, but for the Basque Country, Galicia. The door is open to anyone. El Mundo says that this would be kind of like a colony getting independent, or even likens it to breaking up amicably with a girlfriend and staying friends. It wouldn't change all that much. El Mundo says this is quite a tongue-in-cheek article, but this is no joke. They say that Catalonia, sure, give Catalonia its independence, that way it'll shut up, and that way Spain can start focusing on what's really important.
And finally, something different for the press review. You've got a quiz for us.
Quiz. This is a quiz in a cartoon form in the International Herald Tribune. This is talking about Mohamed Morsi's speech yesterday at the General Assembly. And this is what they took from his speech. Is America A, friend, B, ally, enemy, or don't know? So quite a multiple choice there, according to the International Herald Tribune.
I wonder how many people would tick all four. Who knows? Florence, thank you very much. Florence, the international papers here on France 24. Here's the headlines then. The attacks